Welcome to another special Rolled in Reacts episode. The owner of this Jeep came in saying she just wanted the mechanic to check her tire pressure because it apparently felt like the car was leaning to one side when driving. Customer states, hit some tumbleweed that appeared out of nowhere while on my way back home from a vacation trip. Please advise. This car came in because of a pretty bad clunking sound after the owner had practiced his welding skills on parts of the rear suspension. And this customer had apparently done their very own DIY exhaust repair. Customer states, automatic roll down on my windows are a bit too good, please advise. And this customer had installed a lift kit at a different shop, but had to come in because of a clunking noise. And this truck last had an oil change 42,000 miles ago. And this customer came in with his project car that he had apparently invested over $15,000 in, but now it refused to start and he couldn't figure out why. And this diesel Ford F-250 came in because it wouldn't start after the owner accidentally put AdBlue in the fuel tank instead of the AdBlue tank. This customer had built their very own cat anti-theft system. Customer states, I married the wrong woman and said that I wanted a divorce. Please advise. And this car came in because it was clunking a lot after the customer had it in for some suspension work at another shop. And this customer came in saying, did my first oil change, but car now sounds like a rattlesnake. Please advise. And this Toyota Tacoma rolled in for some wheel balancing after the owner had tried doing it by himself. This mechanic was lifting this car up to do an oil change when he discovered this. This customer came in saying they recently changed transmission fluid at another shop but has had a constant whining and rattling sound ever since. And the owner of this car had challenged their friend to a tug war, and this is apparently the result. And this car rolled in with some starting issues after the owner had tried squeezing an extra 20 horsepower out of the engine in his very own special way. And the owner of this car came in saying that they think they might have a leak. This car came in after the owner had hit a curb going a little faster than normal. Customer states, someone keeps calling me all the time when I'm driving and my transmission has a weird noise. And this customer apparently thinks oil changes are a scam and therefore hadn't had one in quite a while. When you're just that determined to get every last mile out of your tires. This Toyota Prius came in after the owner had hit something on the road. This car came in looking like this after the customer had let their grandson borrow it for a week while they were gone on vacation. And this customer drove their car almost completely without oil, and this is what happened to the oil filter. This customer said that she feels something moving beneath her feet when driving and wanted the mechanics to have a look. The owner of this car had been towing it behind their RV and had forgotten to disengage the handbrake, and this is what that ended up looking like. And this Chevy Trailblazer was in for an oil change when the mechanic saw that the owner had DIY'd their own exhaust. This car came in with some starting issues after the owner had installed a new battery by himself. This car came in after the customer had attempted to fix a brake leak by himself, but it wasn't super successful. Customer states, steering wheel feels kinda heavy. And the owner of this car kept hearing water sounds when driving. And this customer had borrowed their truck to a friend for a couple of days and got it back looking like this. Customer states, took the car off-road for the first time, but afterwards it wouldn't move forward or backwards anymore. And sometimes you just gotta make do with what you have. Customer states, cab smells like pork chops, but only in the winter. Please advise. Customer states, my car barely has any brakes. Please advise. This 2004 GMC Sierra rolled in because the owner said it had started to run rough and wanted it looked at. The mechanic found that the customer hadn't changed the oil in quite some time, but after an engine flush and some new oil, the car ran much better. This customer came in complaining about poor acceleration. This car was in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed the state of the timing belt. When told about it, the customer said, I only know how to drive and put gas in it. I don't know nothing about what's going on under the hood. And this Buick came in after the owner complained about it feeling kinda sluggish and that it had a hard time accelerating. The customer also said that the last oil change was only 56,000 miles ago and that he didn't think an oil change would do anything. This truck came in after the owner had heard a loud metallic noise while driving on the highway. This customer had apparently left the mechanic a little snack as a way of saying, thank you for working on my extremely filthy car. This customer had been to the shop and declined all repairs, but had to come in 2 hours later because they had heard a loud pop while driving and now had no choice but to get new tires. Talk about instant karma. This car came in after the owner complained about a tire leak. Customer states, was revving it after an oil change, but then heard a loud crack and engine stopped. Turned out that the customer had forgot to refill the engine with oil after the oil change. And this Mercedes CLA 250 came in with a rim that had cracked in 6 places after the owner had hit a curb. The owner of this Chevy Silverado came in complaining about it sounding hella loud at all speeds and said he thinks it's because they hit a bag of Cheetos on the highway the day before. Must have been one hell of a bag of Cheetos. And these well-used brake pads came off of a 2016 Kia Soul. This car rolled in with some starting issues after the owner and his friend had installed a new sound system a few weeks prior. The owner of this semi-truck came in saying, the truck clunks and vibrates a lot at higher speeds ever since I hauled a load of extra large concrete garden gnomes. Please advise. And this mold wagon wanted to be a Volkswagen again, so the owner had it in for some cleaning and this is how it looked afterwards. And this mechanic found the socket of sockets while doing an oil change. Customer came in on a tow truck saying that they had raced their best friend at a stoplight but had heard a loud pop from the engine and then it suddenly stopped. The owner of this car needed some new headlights but couldn't find the right bulb size, so he improvised a bit. Customer states, my father-in-law helped me install new brake calipers, but now my brakes feel weird. Can you check it out? And this BMW rolled in with some starting issues and a battery warning light. Turns out that the generator had some issues and a pulley was mysteriously not in its place. This car came in because the owner said that his oil light keeps coming on, even though he has topped it up with over 20 quarts of oil the past 10 days. Yeah, looks great. The owner of this car had installed a new sound system by themselves, but had to come in because they get a bad cough when turning up the volume. This car had to come in for some new tires after the customer had engaged the parking brake to try and avoid hitting the car in front of them that had suddenly stepped on the brakes. This car drove in for an oil change, and the mechanic didn't notice this until it was on the lift. The mechanic said that it's probably part of the insulation of the resonator. The owner of this Infiniti had just purchased it and had let their friend take it for a ride, but came in on a tow truck 2 hours later, looking like this. Must have been one hell of a ride. Nah, there's plenty more miles in them rotors. This customer had installed a lowering kit on their car, but had forgotten to tighten a couple of parts. And this is what happens when you accidentally shift into second gear going 120 miles an hour. This customer came in and said, got a great deal on this car from a friend of a friend, only paid $4,000 for it, and they said it just needs new tires. I think it'll need a little bit more work than just that. And this customer had fixed a leaking tire, but had to come in because it was now leaking more than before. Customer states, I don't know what happened, I was just pulling a trailer of concrete behind me. Technologia. This customer had repainted the front bumper of his car by himself and came in to see if it was done right. And getting behind this car on the highway would definitely be at your own risk. And this is what happens if you're like this guy and do your own oil changes, but skip switching the oil filter. And the owner of this car complained about poor acceleration. Turns out that a squirrel had turned a muffler into a secret stash of nuts. Now, if you have any idea of what the hell is going on here, please let us know in the comments below. This mechanic had this car in for an inspection after the owner had done some work on it. While having the car on the lift, he noticed that the ball joints were holding on for dear life. Customer states, car keeps overheating even after I tried fixing it with some stop leak. And the owner of this car had apparently hit a curb doing 50 miles an hour.
Oh no, I'm all messed up. Oh send help.
This Jeep Gladiator Rubicon rolled in after the owner had gone on a little off-road trip for the first time. And this customer came in saying, was doing 120 on the highway the other day and heard a little noise and sort of felt something move beneath my feet. Can you check to make sure it's nothing serious? And this customer was in with their semi-truck for some work when the mechanic noticed that their trailer had had some pretty interesting DIY work done to it. Customer came in saying that they always do their own maintenance and do it on time, but had to come in because they now had trouble stopping their car. Yep, these people are out there driving among us. But don't worry, because the other tire is just like the first one. This car came in after the owner complained about the car feeling jerky and that they keep hearing a clunking sound when driving. The customer ended up declining all repairs. The owner of this truck had it in because they get a clunking sound anytime they slam the brakes and couldn't figure out what it was. Customer states, friend of mine did some brake work for me, but on my way home I had to slam the brakes to avoid hitting a rooster on the road. Wheel has been dragging ever since. Please advise. This customer came in saying that every time I hit the brakes really hard, the fuel level drops. After further inspection, the mechanic found that someone had drilled a hole in the fuel tank at such an angle that the car was losing quite a lot of fuel during hard braking. This Porsche had to come in after the owner's wife had hit a curb going pretty fast. This customer had fixed their exhaust in a very creative way using some tinfoil and hot glue. The owner of this truck rolled in because he wanted the mechanic's opinion on whether or not it would be worth it for him to install a trailer hitch. Customer states, had a brake light for a while, then my buddy helped me fix it, but the light just came back on yesterday. And this car came in with quite the oil leak after the owner had tried to fix it by himself using some silicone. And this customer came in saying, did some suspension work together with my buddy the other weekend, but now the car feels like an older gentleman rocking a hula hoop on the back of a moving truck. This Holden came in with quite the oil leak after the customer had tried fixing it himself using some silicone. And this customer came in with a leaking tire after having hit a pothole doing 40 miles an hour. The owner of this 1999 Land Rover Discovery was doing some engine work when they accidentally dropped a bolt into the engine without noticing. Apparently, he put the engine back together, tried cranking it a few times before he heard a loud metallic crack and had to come into the shop on a tow truck. The owner of this car came in saying, yeah, I had a vibration from the back for a while, but I fixed it myself. This guy had borrowed his buddy's garage for the weekend but had some issues with the lift. This car came in for a post-purchase inspection after the previous owner had stated that it was almost like new underneath and that it didn't have any major leaks. Customer states, my brakes are squeaking hella bad, please advise. And this customer had changed the oil pan gasket by himself and wanted to make sure everything looked alright. And this Chevy SUV somehow drove into the shop looking like this. And this Jeep is definitely more than just a Jeep to the owner. The mechanic said that each time it comes in for its regular service, there's something new to see. And this car rolled in after the owner said, my truck keeps squirting on random strangers on the sidewalk. This customer said that he has an occasional clunk, but only when starting or stopping and wanted it fixed. Customer states, my wife took the car for the week and now it doesn't want to start, please advise. And this customer had bought some new lights for his car and had spent 3.5 days trying to install them before giving up and coming into the shop to have it fixed. And this customer came in saying that their car smokes too much after they recently installed a new radiator at another shop. The owner of this car came in complaining about their car vibrating too much when driving on the freeway. The owner of this car came in saying that they have always done their oil changes at the same quick lube shop, but ever since the last one, their car had started to run unevenly and came in to have it looked at. The owner of this car came in for an inspection after they had just got it at a bargain price at a local auction. The mechanics discovered that it wasn't such a bargain after all. Uh-oh. This customer came in because their engine had started to run a bit rough, but that they follow the maintenance intervals stated in their owner's manual to a T. And this is probably as good as it gets. This change is holding the exhaust up, a wireless O2 sensor, Toyota muffler, a little 90-degree angle that turns into 45, and then we get into the super sealed slinky that doesn't leak at all. And we continue a little further down and we get a Chrysler muffler on a Nissan that sits on a couple of Dodge rims. A piece of art, I'd say. And this truck rolled in because the owner said he's not quite sure if it's time for an oil change just yet because it's only been 45,000 miles since the last time. Oh yeah, it's one of those new scree brake rotors. Customer states, car feels weird ever since I hit something on the road a few weeks back. Please advise. This customer came in complaining about really squeaky brakes ever since they apparently got it fixed at a different shop. Okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And this Kia Sorento came in with a pretty decent oil leak. The mechanic found it to be caused by a leak in oil pressure sensor. This pickup truck was in for some new rear brakes when the mechanics saw that they had a pretty old school rear subframe. The owner of this truck was driving on the highway when he suddenly heard a loud pop and had to pull over. This is what the mechanics found. This car came in because of a vacuum leak after the owner's friend had done some work on it. And this guy came in with his car saying he hit a duck on his way to work. The owner of this car came in complaining about a clunking sound when driving at slower speeds after having been at another shop, and this is what the mechanics discovered. And this quad bike came in because it had troubles firing up, and this is what the air filter looked like. And this customer said, every time I roll up my window, it sounds like a machine gun.
Get to the chopper!
Customer states, my friend helped me swap wheels, but now I have a clunking noise. Customer came in saying that he had installed some tie rods by himself, but that the steering now feels a bit loose and wanted it looked at. This car came in with some starting issues after the owner and his brother had installed a ground cable from the battery like this. And this is exactly why mechanics and car engineers always love each other. And this window couldn't decide if it wants to go up or down. This car came in because the owner had quite the clunking noise. Customer came in saying that they've gone through 4 batteries in 2 weeks, and the car still doesn't hold a charge. I wonder why. The owner of this car came in saying that it has gotten harder and harder to put the car in gear the past few months and wanted it checked out. This customer apparently drove straight into a barbed fence, and this is the result. The owner of this car came in complaining about a grinding noise when driving, and this is what the mechanic found. This engine came out of a customer's dirt bike who had been speeding to get to his new girlfriend the night before when the bike had just shut off on him while he was doing 90 miles an hour. This car came in because the customer complained about the transmission feeling a bit weird. And this customer came in saying, you know, I had a clunking noise for a while, but I fixed it myself. This car rolled in with some rattling sounds after the customer had let their grandson borrow the car for a week. This car came in because the customer said it had poor acceleration and had started to make a strange sound ever since their grandson had borrowed it 2 weekends prior to go see his friends. This car didn't come with a trailer hitch, so the customer just welded one on by themselves. This customer had installed a lowering kit, all by themselves. And this 2019 Audi RS3 came in because the owner said that they heard a loud pop when driving, and then the car suddenly stopped. Customerstates drove past a construction site and took a little souvenir with me. And this car came in looking like this after the owner had heard a loud pop when driving home from their vacation home. And this car came in after the owner said that the roof light had suddenly stopped working after their daughter had borrowed the car for the weekend. This mechanic had a bit of a tough time reaching one of the spark plugs, so he got a bit creative. This truck rolled in for a seasonal wheel swap, but when the mechanics went to take the wheels off, they discovered that the customer had secured the hubcaps with some silicone. And this Nissan had some suspension work done at another shop, but had to come in after the customer had heard a loud pop while driving on the freeway. And this poor car hadn't had an oil change in God knows how long. Customer states, changed timing belt together with a friend, but now engine runs really rough. And this customer complained about steering wheel vibration. And this car apparently likes its gaskets. Well done. Customer states, my son took the car for a weekend trip in the mountains, but car now has a clunking sound and leaks oil. Please advise. And this is from a 2001 Toyota Tacoma. This guy came in with his car saying that the steering wheel has started to wobble a lot ever since he installed larger wheels together with his younger brother. This customer had their car in for a yearly service at another shop, but had to come in because they now have a misfire. This car came in because the owner said it felt like driving a waterbed on wheels after he had done some suspension work on it together with his buddies 2 nights before. And this customer came in saying that they think something's wrong with their tires. Customer states, I have to keep pumping my tires up all the time. Please advise. Customer came in saying that they've got a terrible clunk at all speeds, ever since their little cousin borrowed the car for a month. Customer came in saying, radio was playing my favorite tune, so I turned it up while I drove through a neighborhood I usually stay away from. And I think I must have hit a swarm of large bugs or something, because I kept hearing these popping sounds. Could you check it out? When you're actually right on time for your service appointment. And this customer came in for a tire rotation when the mechanic noticed the state of the brakes. When told about it, the customer apparently just said, I knew you were trying to screw me over. I'm going to another shop next time. Looks good. And unfortunately for this customer, it looks like they will need an engine replacement. This guy had prepared his Jeep for some off-roading and came in to make sure everything looked alright. This guy had refurbished his brake rotors but didn't want to install new brake pads, so he now had quite the brake noise. This car was in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed the state of the tires. When told about it, the customer apparently just replied, "What do you mean? I already fixed them myself." Customer states, "Car feels like a boat when turning." This truck came in because it needed some new tires. And this customer had changed his air filter all by himself, but had to come in because the car had really sluggish acceleration. And the owner of this car had just installed new wheel bearings by themselves, but had to come in after one of their front wheels had driven right past them on the highway. This is what happens when you tow your car and leave it in gear. Customer states, "Car smokes like it's smoking 12 packs a day. Please advise." Apparently, the smoke was caused by oil that was seeping out onto the engine because of a bad valve cover gasket. The owner of this car came in because they had a terrible clunk anytime they hit the brakes. Turns out that the customer had another shop install new calipers and pads 2 weeks prior, but they had used tie wraps to secure the caliper instead of the proper caliper bolts. Customer states, "Did some engine work at another shop, but ever since, car idles at a higher RPM. Please check and advise." Customer states, "Rattling sound from drivetrain. Please advise." This Ford minivan came in because the owner said that they had a thumping and rattling sound when driving at higher speeds, ever since they had a quick fix repair shop do some work on their rear axle. This car owner came in wondering why his brakes were squeaking. The brake pads were apparently almost like new. This pretty much brand new Lincoln Corsair rolled in after the customer said that they had started getting a vibration in the steering wheel for the past 2 to 3 months, but had kept driving since they thought it was probably something wrong with the road and not their car. The owner of this car said he thinks something might be wrong with the engine. This customer came in complaining about clunking sounds after they had replaced the lower control arms by themselves. And this customer had touched up and painted the rims all by themselves. This customer came in with their truck like this after their stepbrother had done some welding on the subframe for them for free. I can see why it was for free. This guy had installed a custom sport exhaust on his Volkswagen by himself, but now had a pretty bad fuel leak. This customer came in saying that they always have a little puddle of oil on the driveway and wanted it looked at. The owner of this car had installed their very own underglow kit, but had to come in because the car now had issues starting. Customer states, "I only want a tire repair, don't try and screw me over." And this customer came in complaining about a wobbly steering wheel after they had some wheel work done at a quick fix repair shop. And this customer came in saying, "Took my truck off-roading for the first time since buying it new, but something's wrong with the 4-wheel drive. Please check and advise." This customer came in saying that they have to refill their coolant all the time, and this is what the mechanic found. And this car had more than just one owner. And you gotta love that fix-a-flat. It's not messy at all. The owner of this SUV came in saying that they were on their way to get some groceries when they suddenly heard a loud metallic pop, but had just kept driving until they lost almost all power. Customer states, "I think I floored it a bit too hard this time." The owner of this truck came in saying that they were in a rush to get home from work 2 days ago and think they hit a rabbit. Must have been B-Rabbit. This customer came in with his car all beat up after his wife found out that he was having an affair with another woman that apparently was also their nanny. Yikes. Customer states, car has a misfire and is idling really rough. Please advise. And this car was in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed the state of the tires. When told about it, the customer apparently just said, "I think I'll be alright for another 2 years or so." Just imagine going over speed bumps in this one. This Freightliner Cascadia rolled in with quite the oil leak after the truck driver had hit a large rock while driving on the highway. Apparently, the oil tray is made out of plastic on these models, which probably made the whole situation worse. Customer states, car sounds like a washing machine with rocks in it. Please advise. Customer states, hit a hedgehog with extra long spikes and car won't start since. Please advise. And this engine apparently makes its own ice cream. Customer states, gently brushed against a curbside when trying to avoid hitting some road debris. Please check and advise. Customer states, hit a pothole, but I wasn't even going that fast. The owner of this car came in saying, had a strange leak for a while and fixed it myself, but car's still leaking, please advise. Satisfying. And this Chevy S10 came in after the owner said they heard a loud bang while towing a trailer with a 16-foot high concrete penguin in it. This customer said that he had hired a mobile mechanic to come pick his car up for some maintenance, and this is apparently their pickup and delivery service. Hey, if it works, it works! This customer needed a new exhaust, so he designed and installed one all by himself. And the owner of this car had tried installing new brakes by himself, but couldn't for the life of him figure it out and had to come in on a tow truck. This customer came in complaining about lots of vibration in their steering wheel. This truck came in with some electrical issues and clunking sounds after the owner had installed some new extra lights and a fender, all by himself. The owner of this car came in saying, was driving to the grocery store when the electric windows suddenly stopped working. Please check and advise. This customer came in saying that they just had an oil change at another shop, but now the car is running really bad. It's that Flintstone guy again. This customer came in saying, whenever I turn right and try to roll down the passenger window, something strange happens. Customer states, hit something on the highway while on the way to the airport. Please check and advise. Customer states, suspension was clunky, but fixed it himself. Wants to make sure everything looks alright. That looks a bit too cold. Customer states, friend installed new fog lights. Please make sure everything looks alright. And this car came in after the customer said they've had a strange sound ever since another shop did some suspension work for them. Customer came in saying that a friend of theirs had helped them install some new belts, but that they now have pretty bad squeaky noises coming from the engine and their dash looks like a lit up Christmas tree. This BMW rolled in after the owner said it had started to lean heavily to one side after hitting a speed bump going 50 miles an hour. Customer states, changed my own brake pads, but now my brakes are squeaking more than usual. This truck rolled in after the customer had bought it for $1 off of Facebook Marketplace and wanted to see how it looked underneath. The mechanic said that it looks like the price was set just right. This customer came in complaining about a bad smell in the cab. Customer states, something's wrong with my wheel. Can you check it out? This customer came in because they had a loud clunking sound when driving after they had some engine work done at a different shop. And this car apparently makes its very own air filter pasta. And this car came in because the brakes didn't always work after the owner's grandson had installed new calipers for them the month before. This car came in with an oil leak after the customer said that they apparently hit a large yoga ball while driving to their morning shift. Must have been one humongous yoga ball. Yum. Customer states, friend of mine borrowed the truck for a week and said that he had hit a rock one day, but that he fixed the damage himself and that I shouldn't worry about it. And the owner of this RV rolled in because they wanted the mechanics to have a look at the LED strip that they had installed by themselves. Apparently, the customer had tried smaller and bigger fuses, but they all just kept blowing for some reason. This customer had fixed their SUV's rake in their very own particular way, and came in to ask the mechanic if he thought everything looked solid. And this is what happens when you only change your oil every 55,000 miles. The owner of this car said that he was out driving in the middle of nowhere when he suddenly lost all steering. Luckily, a local gas station was nearby and the owner did a little quick fix to help the customer get to the closest garage. And this car came in because it kept having low oil pressure after the owner had hit something on the road. This guy had been to the shop a week prior for an oil change when the mechanics insisted that he should get some new winter tires and brakes installed, which he then refused, but had to come into the shop a week later because he got a dose of instant karma. The owner of this car rolled in complaining about a vibrating steering wheel after having balanced the wheels all by himself. That's probably okay, right? And this car came in with a unique and pretty perpendicular exhaust system. The owner of this truck said that he's been hearing a hissing sound since he topped up the coolant the week before. Turned out that the truck had gotten itself a new temporary owner. This customer came in saying that he had tried to fix a brake noise, but that it had just gotten worse and that it was now also difficult to stop the car. And this is what happens when you don't believe that oil changes are actually necessary. And this customer came in saying that his car makes a strange loud sound when accelerating and wanted it looked at. The owner of this Honda Fit came in after the AC had stopped working. Once the mechanic started working on it, he found the issue to be caused by the car only having about half of the AC condenser left, which is something he's never come across before. Let us know in the comments if you've ever seen anything like this before. This customer had done his own yearly service, but had to come in because he now has a burnt paper smell when driving. The owner of this vehicle rolled in with quite the clunking sounds at all speeds after they had done some suspension and tune-up work at a different shop. This customer came in saying that their car has started to handle like a 95-year-old carrying a washing machine down a couple of stairs. This SUV came in after the customer said it had started to handle like a sheet of plywood on a stormy day after they had some frame repair done at a different shop. This Chevy Colorado had to come in because the owner said, "My windshield is always greasy." The mechanic discovered that they had put sunflower oil instead of washer fluid in the washer fluid tank. Customer states, the gear stick gets all excited when I press the gas. customer came in saying that they were racing their buddy when they suddenly heard a loud bang from the engine bay, and this is what the mechanics found. And this customer came in all proud and said, "I do all my own engine work, but the car has a minor starting issue and he wants the mechanics to take a look at it." And the owner of this car came in saying that he wants new brakes installed but didn't mention anything about this. The customer ended up taking the car to a different shop as he got upset when the mechanics told him there's nothing they could do for him. And this old Volkswagen rolled in because the owner complained about it making too much of a pataka taka taka noise. The owner of this car came in with a pretty long list of problems after they had installed a lowering kit that they'd found on eBay for cheap. This truck came in after the owner said that one of his wheels had rolled past him on the highway and that he speeded after it before it got away. And this fleet truck came in for its first oil change in 20,000 miles, and this is what that looked like. If you enjoyed this special episode of Rolled In Reacts, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.